The ODPP Café. My name is Anita Onuko. I'm your host for the show. This is a show brought to you by the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution. We bring this show to you to educate, to inform you, and to just discuss the law so that one day, if ever you are in conflict with the law, you'll know what to do. Or if someone close to you is in conflict or even in contact with the law, you'll know what to do. But yeah, we welcome you to the show once again. We invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel at the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution. We invite you to follow us on Facebook at the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions Kenya. And we also invite you to follow us on Twitter and engage us in conversations at the office at ODPP_KE. So karibu sana once again, and thank you once again for joining us on the show. So as always, we start with highlights from the courts. Again, not exhaustive, just a few highlights from the courts, and of course, some of the things that have been happening at ODPP. So karibu sana, and we get right into the show with the court highlights. The next case is about a woman who has been sentenced to 2 years for theft. A house help was sentenced to jail after pleading guilty to stealing her employer's money and taking it to a fake street pastor. Faith Ondisa was accused of stealing $456,000 from Mary Mwatika at Lavington in Dagoretti within Nairobi County. I bet she was told it's going to be doubled or something was going to be done about the money, but that wasn't to happen. So she was taken, of course, to court for it, and she pleaded guilty to the charges before Kibera Magistrate William Tulel. She told the court that she was brainwashed by the con men along the busy Ngong Road. Tulel ordered her to serve 2 years in jail or pay the complainant back her $456,000. But like we said, she has a right to appeal, and she has 14 days to appeal the sentence. The next case is about 2 women who were charged with kidnapping. This was in Kayole, and they were charged at Milimani Law Courts. The prosecution submitted that Felista, Wairemo, and Lydia Wanjiko on unknown dates and unknown place, jointly with others not before the court, conspired to steal a child who was aged less than a month. So this must be, it's a case that has just started, and I know it's going to continue, and we shall give you an update. So this took place in Kayole, and they were charged with stealing an infant. They denied the charges and were released on 500,000 cash bail. Again, everyone has a right to bail, and of course with some conditions, and they were released, and the matter will be mentioned on April 12th, 2022. This other one is quite sad. Pastor is charged with defilement. A pastor was charged with defiling a 6-year-old girl who had visited his home to learn beauty skills from his wife. I have so many questions about this story, but only that I'm not here to tell stories. The prosecution submitted that Michael Masinde, a clergy at the African Green Cross Apostle Church, committed the offense on March 25th at Kawangware, stage 56 in Dagoretti, Nairobi. A 6-year-old going to visit an adult to learn beauty skills is quite not a good story to tell. The pastor denied the charges and was released on a 500,000 shilling bond, and the matter is to proceed on April 13th. And then now the next one is not a case in court, but an activity at the ODPP. There was an interagency workshop on counterterrorism. It took 4 weeks. It was a stakeholder engagement workshop that developed interagency guidelines on collaboration and cooperation in investigation and prosecution of terrorism and countering financing of terrorism. So we've talked about interagency collaboration. We've talked about how no one actor can just operate on their own or in silos. So you need to work together to get things done. And this is one of those interagency collaboration that we speak about. So during the event, the Secretary of Public Prosecutions, Dorcas Odur, said the guidelines will enhance collaboration among the agencies and ensure good case management and criminal justice accountability to the people of Kenya. So the criminal justice system is quite a circle, and no one actor, like I said earlier, can operate on their own. So these ones came together to do guidelines on counterterrorism. So participants were from ODPP, from NIS, from CBK, from the AG's office, Judiciary, NPS, KRA, Immigration, Financial Reporting Center, Asset Recovery, agency, and NCTC and prison, amongst other partners. So the guidelines were being supported by the EU under the Anti-Money Laundering, Trafficking in Human Being AML-THB project. ODPP has a specialized counter-terrorism division that handles such cases. So those were the court highlights and a bit of an activity that took place at ODPP. Like I said, we never cover everything, just a few of the highlights, just to inform you that about what has been going on. So today we are live on location. We are live in Makadara sub-county in Nairobi County. And it's one of the busiest, and we'll just be told, we'll talk about that in a bit. We are going to talk about the decision to charge guidelines. We talk about it all the time so that we clearly explain and educate you about the mandate of the different actors in the criminal justice system. So each actor has a mandate. And one of the mandates for the ODPP is in making the decision to charge. So we're going to discuss this today, and I don't have to discuss it. I have experts on the show to talk to you about it. So I'm going to give them a chance to introduce themselves and tell us what they do, then we can get into the discussion. You're welcome to comment. You're welcome to ask a question, and we'll definitely see how best to respond to you. But karibu sana, tell a friend to join us in the discussion. Thank you so much. So I'll start with you, because you're the host, Mr. MBURUGU.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning
to you and to our viewers.
Yes.
My name is Joseph MBURUGU. I'm a principal prosecution counsel, and I am the head of ODPP Makadara. I have been with the office since the year 2014. So I'm
You're seasoned.
Clocking 8 years. Yes, I'm seasoned.
You're seasoned.
Yes,
yeah.
And I enjoy what I do.
Awesome. Tell us a bit about Makadara. You're telling us how wide your jurisdiction is. I'm shocked. So how many police stations come here?
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you. Makadara is a purely criminal court handling criminal matters only. It is the busiest criminal court station East and Central Africa, handling 42 police stations.
Not just Kenya?
Not just Kenya.
Okay.
Yes, we cover from Kenyatta University, the whole of Thika Road, all the way to Tomboya Street.
Wow.
All the police stations on Thika Road. We cover Kangundo Road all the way to Kamulu. So it's very, very busy.
It's busy?
It's the busiest.
What time do you start your day?
We start at around 5:30.
Wow.
Every day at around 5:30, we open the office and we start receiving police officers.
Police officers. Yeah. Is it by design that this place is there's a law court, of course there's a police station here, right?
Yes.
And then now there's ODPP. Is it by design? Is it why it is that busy?
Well, I'm told.
Ama mulijipata tu.
Tulijipata tu, but Makadara Law Court was established a while ago, about 1950 something.
Okay.
It's an old court.
Yeah.
But the office of the DPP was established in 2010, but coming here in Makadara was immediately after the promulgation of the Constitution, when the prosecutors started being sent to the court stations.
Okay.
But currently where we are, we started on 1st of September 2021. That is when we moved to
this building now?
This building.
Ah, okay.
And that is when we started Wadilifu here.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
So we are here because of Wadilifu and decision to charge, I think. So we're going to discuss that in a bit.
Yes.
But I hope tumekaribishwa.
You're welcome. Feel very welcome in Makadara.
Yeah.
We always say sisi ni watu wa Eastlando.
Eastlando.
Yes.
Tuna represent.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Aya, karibu madam, hata sitaki kusema majina yako. Tuambie majina yako alafu utajibu swali ya kwanza ya from one of the people who are on Facebook.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning, viewers. Good morning. I'm Defense KALE, ZAINAB. Currently attached at Shauri Police Station in the crime branch office.
Okay.
I've served the police service in the past 10 years.
Oh.
Yes, to be precise, in the investigation department. Yes.
All right.
Yes, and currently the station liaison in the linking between the court and the station.
Okay.
Yes, I'm the station liaison. Also, be linking the Makadara Law Courts and the station, the members of the public.
Okay.
Yes, currently.
I don't think we'll have a peaceful discussion if you don't tell us where the name defense came from.
Defense.
Yeah. Was it by design that you're called defense and you work in the police force?
maybe fate,
Fate,
or
right?
destiny.
Yeah.
You can say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the name, I just found myself in this.
Your parents were
profession.
not in the police force?
No.
Allah.
From my nuclear family, I'm the only person who is a police officer.
All right.
Apart from the extended family.
Okay.
So I'm the only police officer,
Wow.
the first police officer in our family.
Tutacha maswali basi.
Okay, thank you.
Tutakubali unaitwa defense.
Thank you very much.
So, karibu sana to the show.
Thank you.
So we seek to explain to people exactly what ODPP does, and we invite co-actors like yourself to tell us how you get work done with these other agencies like ODPP.
Yes.
So karibu sana, we just are talking to the normal mwananchi. We explain to them what we do, tell us what you do and how you do what you do with ODPP.
Thank you very much.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
Mr. MBURUGU, back to you.
Yes.
The decision to charge.
Yes.
Tell us a bit of history. Tumetoka wapi, tunaenda wapi? Tumetoka wapi, tuko wapi, na tunaenda wapi?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that question, Anita. Previously, before the promulgation of the 2010 Constitution, police used to do prosecution work. Prosecution used to be done by police prosecutors.
Yes.
Now there is a principle in natural justice which says that power must be separated. You cannot be the accuser, you cannot be the prosecutor, you cannot be the adjudicator of my case.
Yeah.
So when we were promulgating the new constitution, the common mwananchi pushed that agenda that there must be separation of powers. And one of the outcomes of that was the establishment of the office of the DPP as an independent office. So prosecution was taken over by State Council, Prosecution Council. There were a few previously who were in the office of the Attorney General. The ODPP was a department in the office of the Attorney General, but they were only handling matters in the High Court. So when the office was established in 2010 and the recruitment was done, prosecutors were distributed all over the court stations. And now that is where we are. Now, after the promulgation of the new constitution and the office was established, we started developing guidelines and policies. And one of the guidelines was the decision to charge guidelines. Yeah. Yeah. We must have standards that must be used when you are making a decision to send somebody to court. So that MBURUGU sitting in Makadara and MBURUGU sitting in Isiolo, where I was previously stationed, when I'm making a decision to send somebody to court, because that is the decision to charge, what standards are we using? So the decision to charge guidelines are meant to give us standardized procedures and what we are supposed to check when we are making that decision. Yeah. So every morning here in Makadara, we make decisions to charge. And the most important thing that we look for when making the decision to charge, all other issues notwithstanding, is the evidence. The evidence. That's the most important thing.
So you look at that every morning?
Every morning.
Yeah.
We look at the evidence, we look at, is it available, is it credible, is it reliable? Is it, yeah. Yeah. Those are the things we should look at when we are making the decision to charge.
So, MBURUGU, you're saying from 1963, from independence up to 2010,
yes,
natural justice was not sort of being adhered to.
It was not being adhered to because the police were investigating and they were also prosecuting. And the agitation by Kenyans was that this is not right. So there had to be established an independent office to do the prosecution. Yeah. Because we have the judiciary adjudicating the cases. Okay. That is an independent arm of government. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So defense, how do you interact with these guidelines as police officers? The decision to charge.
The decision to charge.
Yes.
Okay. Our part is I think we do the bigger part of the key players of the groundwork. Yeah. Yes. So at the station, members of the public come to report. Okay, when they report, the case is meted to an officer. Okay, the officer goes to the ground, sees if this was this really what happened or not. So after the recording of the report, if it is something that needs an expert, the member of the public sent or the victim is sent to to hire the expertise, if it is a doctor, if it is the P3 to be filled, and these are the people where the person is sent. After that, the witnesses are called so that we record the statements. So from the statements, we open a file, okay, plus the charge sheets. So after that, we bring it to the ODPP. So the ODPP, they go through what was done from the ground. And then from there, they say that this person is supposed to be charged with ABC. Yes.
So this charge sheet, because you're talking to members of the public, what does a charge sheet have, and who holds the charge sheet? Because somebody asked when we posted, I think yesterday, about the decision to charge, and said ukishaenda kwa polisi charge sheet inaandikwa unapatiwa unapelekea ODPP. Is that what happens?
No, that does not happen. The accused or the complainant interacts with the documents after they have been brought to court. Okay, that's when they are given the copies of the same. Yes, not before, not prior, because we can have a charge sheet and then maybe the charge which has been indicated there is not the same that the prosecution will adjudge that this is the case that should go to court. So maybe there might be some changes in this. So the charge sheet contains several parts. One, it contains the OB number of which the case was reported, the date to court, the court file number, the police file number. It has the name of the accused person, age, where he comes from, the charge, the particulars of the charge, when the person was arrested, if the person is in the custody or not. Okay, if he's out on cash bail, it's also it's indicated, and then the court in which the case will be prosecuted to, and
at the police station. But then how do I know as an accused person what I've been accused of?
When you are, there's a process, because if it's a criminal case, your fingerprints have to be taken, so you'll be informed. You have been brought to this court because also from the process of arresting, you have to tell the person that you have been arrested for this A, B, C, and D. You cannot just take the person and take him to the police station, to the custody, without knowing why he or she's been,
Are there chances that when whatever you tell me, like when the fingerprints are being taken, what I am told as the accused, is it possible that it reads different from what is in the charge sheet?
Not far from that. Not far from that.
Okay.
Yes. All right. They are normally closely interrelated because of the statements of the complainants and the witnesses. Okay. Yes, so they gather through.
All right. So MBURUGU, you get the charge sheet from the police or the investigative officers.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be the police. There are different investigative agencies, right?
Yes.
And so they come here.
Yes.
So what happens when they come here? And they come here every day?
Every day.
Yeah. From all those 42?
Yes, from all the 42 police stations.
And more. Now, if you're working with EACC and all that, so they come from different places.
Yes.
Yeah, so you get the charge sheet. So just give us a bit of the process now. After you receive the charge sheet, what do you do?
After we receive here in Makadara, it's good that I point out that we are a pilot project on implementing the uadilifu and the decision to charge guidelines. Yeah. So let me take you through what we normally do every morning here in Makadara.
And before you even take me through, you may just need to tell us a bit about what uadilifu is, in case there's someone joining us for the first time. Okay. I know we've talked about it here, but then what is uadilifu and what's the purpose of uadilifu? Yes,
uadilifu is a tool that has been developed by the office on how we shall manage cases. It's called uadilifu case management system, so that we are able to tell what is coming in and the outcomes. Okay. It is a procedure of receiving files through the central intake and having the files scanned and having the charge sheets sent to the judiciary electronically. Okay. And they develop an E-number, such that somebody sitting in ODPP house is able to tell, in Makadara they registered 5 assault cases, these were the complainants, this was the evidence. Yeah. So it's uadilifu is very good in terms of accountability. Okay. MBURUGU is able to answer at a very short notice, why did you register this case? What was the evidence? Okay. I just go at a click, open, and I see. All right. If you look at uadilifu, it is very rich in terms of information. The issues of document tracking, There are issues of file registry. It's very rich, but at the moment what we are doing in Makadara is about the e-filing.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So immediately we receive a file. There is somebody, we call him the receiving clerk. They register it in an OB. We call it an OB, occurrence book. We register everything that comes in.
Yeah.
Once it is registered, it is allocated to Counsel.
So who brings these things to registering? These are the charge sheets?
Yes, they're brought by the police.
So the charge is what you're registering in the OB?
Yes, in the
okay.
OB.
All right.
That is, it doesn't have to be the charge sheet only, it is a complete file.
Ah, okay. Okay. There's a whole, can be a file.
File. Because the decision to charge guidelines say that it must be a complete file, whether it's a petty offense, whether it's a traffic offense, whether it's a criminal, it has to be
a file.
A file.
Okay.
So once it's registered in the OB, it is allocated randomly to the prosecution counsel who are here. Now they make the decision to charge.
So they look at the file, they read through and see.
Yes.
Okay.
Once they make the decision, once they are satisfied that there is sufficient evidence, they sign, they approve the charge sheet. The key word is they approve.
Okay.
By appending their signature, their initials, and their rank.
Okay.
Once that is done, stamped, and it goes for scanning.
Now it goes into the system now.
Yes, it is scanned, and now we e-file the charge sheet.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let me ask you.
Yes.
Somebody, actually I'm asking on behalf of someone who asked, mbona nisipeleke charge sheet mwenyewe kwa ODPP nione nani ananifanyia decision to charge? Because you know we are Kenyans, we like discussing these things. Yes. What is the risk in that? What's the problem with that?
Again, I will return you back to what I had earlier said about the rules of natural justice. This case has to have been investigated.
Yes.
So it must be brought by the investigator.
Yeah.
Who is coming to the ODPP to register a case and for the ODPP to determine whether there is sufficient evidence. Now, take a scenario where it's being brought by the complainant.
Mimi nimekuletea charge sheet yangu, niambie mbona unasema?
What are the chances of you giving me the right information? You will give me the information that is only
beneficial to
you.
Me. Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
And one thing about the decision to charge, which I'm very, very happy about, is that we look at the evidence in rebuttal. What I mean by evidence in rebuttal, unaangalia upande ule mwingine.
Maybe it is the first time I understand that thing. Yeah. Evidence in rebuttal, what does it mean?
Now, for a complete file nowadays, it is important for the police to record the statement of the accused person.
Okay.
Ni vizuri tusikie yule mwenye kushtakiwa anasema nini. So that when the prosecutor is making the decision to charge, anaweza ona statement ya accused na maybe mashahidi wake na aone hata kama the accused person is saying something which might make me not make a decision to charge. You can recommend administrative action. You can say insufficient evidence. You can make whatever decision other than taking the matter.
So it's important to get the story from both sides. From
both sides.
Okay.
Now, in your scenario where the charge is being brought by the complainant, you have not exercised the decision to charge well because you have only had one side. Yeah. So it's good it is brought by the investigator, the person who has investigated. Yeah. You review it independently and you make your decision.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So defense, have these guidelines make work easier for the investigative officers?
Very much easier. Very much easier.
How?
You know, there are some they have started the law in depth. We have done law, but we can't say that is that in depth. Although they are saying that whatever the lawyer has done for 6 years, we do it for 9 months, and we are able to juggle it in court. But there are some of the acts, maybe they are getting repealed each and every day, and maybe from the station we have not had the hint of the same. So maybe I can charge an accused person with the offense A, and when the file comes to court, after they read the statement, they go through the file, they say, no, this one is not to be charged with offense B, or amend this so that it can hold water. Because whatever you're doing, we don't take cases to court to fail. Okay? We are always balanced. We want to be fair on the accused side and also the complainant side. So we have to be on the balance. So we don't have to lie on one side in the effect of the other. So from this case, when the file is brought to court and we advised, it has brought work easier for us. Yes, it's very much easier. Yes.
Oh, quite interesting. So MBURUGU, I also read that the decision to charge makes the prosecutor like the gatekeeper to the system.
Yes.
What does that mean?
There was a judgment I was reading that was made a while back by Justice George Odunga. In that judgment, I do not remember the citation, there is a quote he made that the ODPP is not a conveyor belt of just receiving cases from the police and passing them to the judiciary.
Yeah.
Yes. So one of the ways of ensuring that you are not a conveyor belt is exercising the decision to charge guidelines as they are. We are very happy that the High Court in Cabernet recently has affirmed that the decision to charge is solely the mandate of the prosecution. Yeah. So we should not accept to take a case to court which does not have sufficient evidence. So that is where now we are.
That is where the gatekeeping now works.
That is where the gatekeeping works. And my colleague defense here will tell you, the police, they operate by way of orders. Peleka huyu mtu kotini. Peleka kotini, wacha koti iende ikaamue. That is how the reasoning is done at the police station. And I think that was the reason why Kenyans felt, no.
We need somebody else
to make the decision. So most of the police officers every morning, and I must be very honest, that we have very good police officers. They come here and they tell you, mimi hii nimesukumwa na OCPD, nimesukumwa na OCS, nimesukumwa na wakubwa. Now you as the prosecutor, you are a minister of justice.
You now exercise your
the decision to charge. Is there evidence to take this person to court? If there is no evidence, do not make the decision to charge. Do not.
Lakini siku hizi basi hakuna vile utaambiwa utaenda police station. Of course umefanya makosa. Hakuna vile utaambiwa sasa unaenda court Monday na polisi. Can the police tell you you're going to court on Monday? For example, just hypothetically.
On Monday?
Like just on a certain date. Like umepelekwa, you have a case to answer.
Yes.
You're talking to the police officer pale kwa OB, assuming to. Anakwambia hii yako tunapeleka court on Monday ama unaenda court kesho. Can the police make that decision to take you to court tomorrow?
The thing is, by now we follow the rule of order.
Okay.
When a person is arrested, within 24 hours must be taken to court unless it's out on cash bail. Or unless there is a file which needs to be perused.
Yeah.
So that goes within 3 days or 7 days by the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution. Yeah. So our decision to take a person to court, not to charge. Our decision to take a person to court depends with all the evidence that we have. Because the person is in the OB, his or her work is just easy, just to record the report, just that.
I guess my question is, this 24-hour period,
who
decides to take me to court within this 24-hour period? Does that fall within the decision to charge, or it's still under the...
That's why I want to take you through. Yeah. So after that, the case is given to an investigating officer. So you cannot be arrested if you don't have a file already with all statements. Yeah. So you have to make sure that you have a complete file so that you arrest a person. So when the person is arrested, it's when you're told that with this your case, it's A, B, C, and D. Within these 24 hours or tomorrow, you'll be taken to court. Just that. Yes.
Okay. Interesting. So, MBURUGU, just tell me again a bit, still on the gatekeeping bit. I think I also read somewhere that it sort of decongests prisons. This whole decision to charge guidelines, it helps with the prison system. How does it do that?
First, when you limit the number of cases going to court, automatically
you help the prison system.
You help the prison system reduce the number of people going in there. Again, the office has developed other tools which help in decongest prisons. The issues of plea bargaining.
Yes.
There is also the issue of diversion. Those tools, they really help.
Okay.
Recently, as like a month ago, we visited the industrial area remand prison, and we did some plea bargaining. We did some reduction of cash bills, things that will help reduce the number of people
in remand.
In remand.
Yeah.
You know, they say one remandee spends about 160 shillings per day.
Oh.
Doing
what?
On upkeep.
160 shillings per
day. So industrial area is at the moment they're talking about 7,000 people.
Wow.
Yes, and we haven't touched on other prisons in Kenya.
Yeah.
So you can imagine the amount of resources which are being used to maintain somebody because a prosecutor made a wrong decision and took somebody to prison.
Yeah.
Yes.
I heard I think senior counsel saying, Kilokomi saying, the decision to charge is the most important decision a prosecutor makes.
Yes, because it touches on a very, very important fundamental right and freedom, that is the right to liberty.
Oh, yes.
That signature that you are appending
isn't that a heavy burden on you when you wake up in the morning and you have to make is it so heavy, or are you thoroughly guided by this?
That is why I'm very happy with the guidelines, because for as long as you are following the guidelines to the letter and you make a decision to take somebody to court, you will be able to stand by that decision and say, I followed this, and this. Okay. Standardized. MBURUGU in Makadara has made a decision. Tomorrow is not here. Somebody else will be seated here. And you will be able to say, after looking at the file, MBURUGU made the right decision.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, so then you've received the file from IOs. You look at it, you make the decision. What are you looking for now in the evidence? What are you looking for?
Each case has got its unique features, but evidence is, as I was telling you, is it sufficient to sustain a charge, conviction? Is it reliable? Is it relevant? Is it available? Okay. The evidence. Yeah. There are instances where, and this is very common in Makadara, you find people have got their own personal differences and they want to sort them out through the court. Now you'll find somebody has gone to a clinic somewhere and has had some treatment notes made, and the dates do not add up as to when the person was assaulted. So there's a P3, there's a treatment notes, and there are statements. The evidence is there, but is it reliable? The dates are not tallying. Yeah. Yes, those are the things that we look at.
Oh my, I never thought of that ever.
Yes.
So just a small thing like dates can be a thing to look at with your evidence?
Yes. Somebody alleges that my shop was broken into, where I sell electronics, and this number of items were stolen. Yeah. Now, we need to see documentation to show that those items existed. Oh. Because Anita, you can also claim that I had a shop that was broken and these items were stolen. Yeah. So it's about the reliability. Okay. You can say that my shop was broken and the items were stolen, but the evidence that is in the file is about different items. So is that evidence reliable? It's not. Yes. So those are some of the things that we look at every morning when making the decision to charge.
So that's the evidentiary threshold.
Evidentiary test.
Test.
Yes.
No, Missy lawyer. Alafu ingine. What's the other one you look at when you're looking at the decision to charge?
The other issue is the public interest. Yeah. And there is always a misconception about this public interest. Yeah. And senior counsel Kilukumi one time says, public interest is not what is in the interest of the public.
So what is public interest?
So now we go back, what is public interest? Yeah. And I will explain it by way of examples.
Good.
Nowadays, we are in the electioneering period. Yes. You make a statement and the government goes full throttle on you. Yeah. You have used a word, madoadoa. Yeah. And the government is on you. Why? Because we're in a volatile situation. You might utter a word which might cost this country.
Yes, lives.
So it is in the public interest that issues relating to elections be handled sensitively. Yeah. And that is an example of how the public interest. Yeah. Another example, an old lady or man, 89 years, has stolen a toothbrush worth 500 shillings. Is it in the public interest really to prosecute that person, considering the value of the subject matter? The age of the accused person. Is it really? Is it
so that is still under public interest?
Yes.
Okay.
That is a matter that you can divert. Yes, the evidence might be there, but is it really in the public interest. To have an old lady, 89 years, being taken to Langata Women's Prison for 500 shillings.
Yeah.
Yes. So that we must understand the public interest. Yes. It's not about public lynching, but somebody has been brought by members of the public. Peleka huyu mtu kotini. No, that is not public interest. Yes.
Yeah.
Then the other thing we look at is, and this is the third test, is the threshold. The threshold is about availability of evidence at a later date. Yes, somebody has been murdered. The postmortem examination has not yet been filled. You have the body, you have the statements, you have everything. We are just waiting for that report. Of course, the file is incomplete, but you know the report will be available. So we will not reject purely on that ground that kila kitu. We know it will be available. So it meets a certain threshold. Yes. So we can take the matter to court. In Makadara, there are very many instances. For your information, all the government doctors passed on. We had Dr. Kamau and Dr. Maundu, the persons who are filling P3 forms at the Nairobi area. They all passed on. So we had a very big problem with filling of P3s. It used to be done at, and it's still being done, defense you can confirm, at Mamalusi.
Yes.
So they only fill it on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So somebody has been assaulted, they have the treatment notes, everything is in order. The only document that is remaining is a P3, and somebody has already been booked in for filling of the P3 on a Tuesday or a Thursday. Just because of lack of the P3 and because of the background, we know that there is a problem. We will not reject that charge because the P3 form is not there. It has already met a certain threshold. So that is the third test that we look at. Okay. Yes.
Wow. Interesting. I think I keep learning something new when we talk about these guidelines.
Yes.
And I hope somebody else is learning. So defense, just tell us a bit about evidence, because one of the contentious discussions anywhere, let me not talk about public interest, the things that get us interested as a public are things like evidence. How is, like, let's talk about hate speech, for example.
Yes.
How do you collect evidence in a hate speech case?
The hate speech case, mostly now we are in the technological era. So you can see with these, things are being recorded. After they get recorded, we send them to our CID offices. So they do the profiling, the things that they do with them. So for it to be an evidence, you cannot take anything to court to purport it to be an evidence. It has to pass through some tests, which are done by our CID offices. Yes. And then when we learn about that, we say that not all matters, depending with the gravity of it, have to be taken to court. Okay, we have the ADR. Okay, with this person ADR? Said alternative dispute resolution methods. Yes, so you can say this, it's ABCD. So as the aggrieved party, what do you want? No, I want just the person to be warned, and the person is okay with that. Okay, so you just want the person, and then you want, and they say that we are giving you maybe a grace period of several months or several weeks, depending with the type of of thing that they say that. So if you don't do this within the period, or if you repeat this, you're going to be prosecuted for that matter. So for the evidence, that's why we say that we have experts. Most of them we have experts. One, apart from the hate speech one, which has to be taken to the CID headquarters, we have maybe the person who was assaulted. We have the doctors. Yes. If it is drugs, we have to take them to ballistics. If it is, so we have different key players. So when you see a file is complete, it does not entail only the police, the prosecution, and the court. We have other key players. Yes.
Do you just sometimes feel so bad when you hear the court says there's not enough evidence?
No, it's okay with us.
Really? You've collected evidence over a period of time, and then when the case goes to court, after hearing, then the judge says there's no enough evidence.
The thing is, we take the file to the ODPP. The ODPP takes it to court. So when we have our witnesses lined up and they confuse themselves, maybe whatever they're going to, because the magistrate does not read the statements. The magistrate hears what is being said. And also hears the other part, because we have the examination in chief, you have the cross-examination. So this is what it brings up to the basis. In this case, really strong. So it's not about what was collected from the ground. It's about what is being brought to court, because the magistrate is impartial. So when the magistrate, even if the magistrate was at the scene when whatever was happening, maybe if it was an assault, hawezi kuwa katika hiyo angle aseme kwamba mimi nilikuwa niliona. No, so it depend. If the statements ambazo zitakuwa zinatolewa zitakuwa strong from the accused side rather than this, the case will drink water. So it depends with the witnesses. How are they prepared? So if the case takes the other way, we can't.
But you've seen what I'm saying, like even on when people are discussing cases, unasikia hii itaenda alafu utasikia no evidence. So I don't know what do you do? I mean, because you made the decision to charge, you brought your evidence, it's strong. You've made the decision to charge, it's strong. Then you go to court and the judge says, vile nimesikia, sioni kama na kesi hapa.
For a prosecutor,
ama hiyo ni hazards of the job.
For a prosecutor, I can tell you, it's very painful to lose a case. Very, very painful. And that's why we have avenues of appeal. Okay. If you are certain that you presented the case very well, or the evidence was adduced and produced, and an acquittal has been done, there is always a right of appeal. Let it be heard by somebody else. Let us go up to the apex level. Let us go up to the Supreme Court. Yes.
Oh wow. Okay. Well. Those are quite interesting things that you're talking about, because I never ever thought that the magistrate really reads but listens to what you're saying. So hata kama alikuwa mhusika kwa hiyo kesi hizi sema ama atajitoa.
If the magistrate is directly attached to the case. You say, no, I'm not going to handle this matter, let it be handled by the other court. Just like that. Because you're not supposed to work with your emotions. You're supposed to be very clear. Your mind is supposed to be very clear. Okay, so whatever you're going to indicate, it should be void of any emotions attached to. Even if it is maybe the case attached to maybe your family member, don't handle that case. It will be handled by someone else. By someone else. Yes. You have to be very much impartial. You have to. Is that? I think there's a thing that says, "What does a judge as?"
Yes, sober.
A sober as a judge. Yes.
So that's where the soberness comes in.
That's it.
What are some of the most common cases you see around Makadara? Because you handle such a wide jurisdiction, I can imagine you see all sorts of cases.
Makadara, we work with seasons. Now, like now schools are closed. So we are having a lot of defilement cases.
Oh no.
Yes. Then we are also in the electioneering period. We are having a lot of assault cases, grievous harms, creating disturbance. Not to mean that all are in court. We are trying.
You're looking at the files.
At the files. But generally, Makadara, considering the population and the people who live here, we have just the common penal code offenses. There's a jurisdiction of ours, that the industrial area, because industrial area is also our jurisdiction. We have so many cases of stealing by servant in the industries. There are so many cases of stealing by servant. There's an area called Kasarani. Kasarani is very common. Though, if you look at the people who live in Kasarani, those are middle class to upper. So there are so many cases of stupefying, where somebody goes to have a drink and they are spiked. So most of the cases...
It's called stupefy. We call
it stupefying. So it's very common in Kasarani and the Ruai areas. Because of the population, the people who live here, who live in those areas. So when you ask me about the offenses, unless I cluster them with areas, I've been in Makadara for this, my third year, I'm able to tell. If you see a case from, you'll never find stealing by servant, for instance, from Ruben police station. It's a station within the slum.
Mukuru kwa Ruben.
Mukuru kwa Ruben.
Okay.
Yes. It can be there, but very rarely. But you will expect a lot of that from industrial area. Yes.
Okay.
So we are able to cluster. Then we also have Buruburu police station, which covers a bit of Umoja and a bit of Buruburu, the estate. So the people of Buruburu are quite civilized. So you don't get...
They are
quite civilized. You rarely get a case that has happened in Buruburu, the estate. So Buruburu police station actually does a lot of work from Umoja. So once you get a case from Buruburu which happened in the estate, you It will be quite interesting.
Wow. So do you ever get, because of the this place, the way it's so big, do you ever get a chance to go and talk to the people on the ground? And you see that sort of telling them this is what the law says about certain things.
The people, you mean the members of the public?
Yes. Do you get to talk to them?
Since I took over Makadara, I have not had any engagement, but we have a social justice center which has been opened by the DPP in KALE.
Oh yes.
So
because KALE is also part of the jurisdiction.
Yes. So we spoke with the regional head, Mr. Ryungu, and we are planning a visit
to
the social justice center.
Yeah.
And then we are also planning at the moment police visits. I have told my colleagues that I will start sending prosecutors randomly, you and then Kasarani, go and spread the gospel of the decision to charge. Yes. Those are some of the programs that we intend to do in Makadara, because our area is so big.
It's quite big.
Yes, and if I decide to go to all the police stations in one day, I will not be able to make it. But let me say something, Anita, which is very well connected with the decision to charge. Something about prosecution guided investigation.
And you have forgotten to discuss it.
Yes.
What is prosecution-led investigation or guided investigation?
Now, there is there's a program I like watching on DSTV, channel 171. It's called Investigation Discovery.
Yeah.
It's American, how they investigate their cases, and more so homicide cases. Now, in the American jurisdictions, prosecutors are involved in the actual investigations. They go to the scene, they see the statements being recorded and whatever. So that is prosecution-led investigation. Yes, the prosecutor is topmost at the investigation. In our jurisdiction, we do not have that. We have prosecution-guided. We guide our investigators. That is where they bring files for perusal and advice. And we tell them, cover this point, cover this point, cover this point. That is prosecution-guided. We sit down with the investigator and we discuss. This is not the right charge.
So that is guided.
Guided. What we do in Kenya is prosecution-guided.
So then how do you explain when somebody says, DPP tumona hii enda ushike yao? I mean, is that what maybe that is the misconception they have?
Yes. That
you can just tell MBURUGU, nimeona kitu imefanyika pale Buruburu, enda washike. Ama enda guide, enda upeleke investigators hapo washike. Is that the correct explanation of this thing, or it's wrong?
As per the mandate of the ODPP in Article 157, he has powers to direct the Inspector General to conduct investigation on certain issues. That is again prosecution guided investigation. There are matters of public interest where the DPP has to come in and stamp his authority and say, I want an investigation done on this matter and the file forwarded to me within this number of days. Yes. So there are instances where we now delve ourselves. You have also seen instances where prosecutors and investigators sit down, mostly on these EACC cases. They sit down in a joint forum and they look at the evidence before the decision to charge is made. I remember there was a time I used to sit at the headquarters when Wadleaf was being launched, and there were these KEMSA cases. The prosecutors were sitting down, the investigators, and they
have to work together.
Yes. So the key thing about this prosecution-led is working jointly. Here in Makadara, what we do, we have a common WhatsApp group for police officers and prosecutors. So we throw questions.
That really works well then, right?
We always, like a defense asked me, to me a charge sheet here, charges a person found in these plastic bags. Then I called up a colleague from NEMA.
And then you get...
So collaboration. Yes. So that is prosecution-led.
Guided
investigations.
Guided investigation.
And the good thing about prosecution-guided investigations, there's a very little likelihood of that case failing. You know your case from top
to the end.
bottom. So when you're taking it to court, you know what is there.
What is there?
And you know what to present.
Yeah.
When you've worked with the investigator as well, I am sure you'll come out with a watertight case because you'll have sealed all the loopholes. Yes.
But ultimately, there is a judge who makes the decision whether the evidence holds water or not.
Yes, and that is what I told you earlier, rules of natural justice.
Must apply.
Let defense investigate, let MBURUGU prosecute, let somebody else make.
So that has made work easy.
Very much easier.
Funny clamp na kazi yake. Okay, so I think that should be it for our discussion today. And let me just see what people are saying on social. So somebody asks here, Michael asks, Makadara also has quite a number of child offenders. Why is that so? And I think that's what you were saying earlier. But a lot of cases you're seeing now, because of the school holidays, is defilement.
Defilement, and also we also have a big population of people living within the locality. Let me mention something about these child offenders. There is a specialized court, Milimani Children's Court. It's a specialized court handling children matters. I have spoken to my colleague at ODPP, who is the head of the Children's Court, and we have agreed that all matters, firstly, this is for the benefit of all members of the public who are watching us, all matters where the child is being accused, the child offender, must be taken to Milimani. Okay. All matters where a person is charged under the provisions of the Children's Act, that is subjecting a child to cruelty, child neglect, all those must be taken to Milimani. And the reason is this: matters involving children have a statutory limit when they ought to be completed, 6 months. And in Makadara we have breached that because of the volumes of cases. And that is why when you go to committee, you'll find a number of boys there from Makadara. So those cases ought to have been completed within 6 months. So that is why we have agreed that going forward, let them go to Milimani where there's a specialized court. You see, there's a way children matters have to be handled. They have to. It is now a requirement that they have to be given an advocate at state's expense. Okay. Yes. Wow. So for the child offenders, the person asking, they should not worry. We are now trying to sort it out with our colleagues in Milimani. We started about 2 weeks ago, and I've referred to them about 5 cases. Oh. Yes. Okay.
But then, so what makes Makadara so prone to those child defilement cases? Why Makadara?
Okay, what Counsel had said earlier, most cases depend with the localities who live there. We have a large area within which is covered by slums. So what do you expect within the slums? Okay, there is a moral decadence. The parents are not really taking care of their kids. Most of them, they are absent parents. So you see these children are normally exposed to more vices than virtues. That's why you see that Makadara, because of the areas, the area it covers, it determines what kind of cases you're expecting. That's why he covered that earlier. That when you go to Buruburu, when you go to slums, those are the cases that you're bound to find.
I like what you've said. More vices than virtues.
Yes.
So Clement Okech, thank you for following. This is YouTube, I think. Yes, this is YouTube. So great insights. Is it procedural for prosecution not to state its position, whether opposing or not opposing bail on first plea appearance, but instead ask the court to call for a bail report? I don't know whether you've understood, because I haven't.
I have understood the question. I believe he's asking whether prosecutor should oppose bond on all instances or call for a pre-bail report. Now each case is on its own circumstances. Again, corroboration with the IU. There are cases where the IU will tell you this person is a serious flight risk. He has booked a ticket to go to Saudi Arabia. So if he's granted bond, he will disappear.
And you can't know that detail if the IO doesn't tell you.
Yes, because you will not get that information. So once you get the information, on that one automatically oppose bond. On the first plea taking, most courts, immediately the charges are read to you. They ask you, what do you have to say? on issues of bond. Somebody might raise an issue, say, I have 2 children, nobody takes care of them, they have been left just stranded, and that's a serious issue.
Yeah.
So what the magistrate will say, before I give you bond, let me call for a pre-bail report, which will now capture all those issues.
Who brings a pre-bail report?
It's brought by probation officers.
Okay.
Yes. Another issue, maybe somebody is charged with defilement, for instance, and you are a neighbor. When you go back to that locality, chances of you interfering with the case are high.
Yeah.
So, but this information, the prosecutor has to give to the court.
Yeah.
So the court will request for a pre-bail report, where the probation officer will now go to the ground, interview the neighbors, interview the victim, the family of the accused, and when determining bond, now you'll be able to set some of these conditions. Do not go back to that place. And
so there are conditions now.
There are conditions.
Okay.
So the issue of opposition of bond and pre-bail report, each case on its own unique circumstances.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thanks Charity K for watching and tuning in. Chep Kieng Jr. says, good morning ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for the insightful engagement on how the decision to charge is conducted. But for it to be effective, the masses and the National Police Service give me a minute, should be in the forefront of championing for its effectiveness to ensure that cases are well analyzed before being taken to court. And my question to the police constable is that do you consider the decision to charge guideline before writing a charge sheet for the accused? Before writing?
Yes, we do. That's why I said that after the case is reported, there is investigation that has to be done. And then from our own level, before we bring case to the ODPP, you'll be guided. See that whatever this person is saying does not augur well with what was reported. It's like there was a case in which person reported a case of defilement. So when you're recording the statement, you'll see if this, because there are some of the cases which are not they're not true. Okay, so you can see whatever this person is saying does not according to the environment that this person is saying, it does not add water. Okay, so this person said that I was walking up the stairs and then I was attacked by this person. He tied me, and then when you go to that place, that's a very busy place. You cannot be tied, or if you are tied, why didn't you scream? Why didn't you? So there are so many questions. So before you open a file and take it to the ODPP, you have to answer these files. Because when you go to the ODPP, you have to answer some of the questions. You have to know your case well. Yes. So there are some of the cases that you see that maybe this one does not. That's why you open the file and take it for perusal. You don't take person to court. You take it for perusal. They peruse it and then they give their recommendation that with this, do this and this and this. With this, yes. Yeah.
Okay. Vera Omolo says, well articulated in practicable examples. People like examples.
Yes.
We like stories. Me napenda stories, in fact. Judy says, well articulated team, felicitations. Nyambush Jules says she's following. And then JV says, interesting discussion, I'm locked. And then Rosalind Naliaka says, why can't you help me about my case? So Rosalind, we don't know about your case. Maybe just come to the inbox and let us know how you need to be assisted, then you will be assisted. And then Gloria Ngubo says, morning, she's tuned in. So I think we will not look at all the questions. We were just to touch on a few questions, because we can tell stories until evening, because we like telling stories. But I want to come to the end of this program. It's meant to be 1 hour. Sometimes again, when you go beyond 1 hour, you lose people. Wanachoka na discussion. Ama watakuweka tu hapo uongee ukimaliza uzime. So we need to keep it to within 1 hour. So I want to thank you for having us in Makadara. And then, of course, being our good host and your insightful discussions. And I think I am glad, and I know that members of the public are glad to learn that you work together. And of course, that really enhances the administration of justice. Right? So maybe I'll give you a chance to say something before we close.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming to Makadara.
Yeah.
Our office is always open. We like hearing from members of the public whether we are doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Complain where we have not done the right thing, compliment us, and at the end of the day, whatever we do, we always fear God. So we fear God, and we always like doing the right things.
God above all.
God above all.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, and may God bless you.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Yes, defense.
Okay.
Any final words?
Okay, thank you very much, viewers. It has been an interactive session. We are here to help, and you are to help one another. So if you bring case, make sure that you have all the threshold that will help us to do our investigations well and for the file to the ODPP. We are here to serve you, and we are ready to serve you. That's our commandate. Thank you very much. Have a blessed morning and afternoon.
All right. So someone doesn't want to be left behind here. It's called Luke. He says, why leave my question behind? I'm not sure we saw your question, Luke. Maybe you can ask it again if you can in the next few seconds, then definitely we'll get back to you. And then Meshach Cherigin Jr. says, the valuable directions being offered by ODPP to the investigators is a big plus to the criminal justice system. Convictions are made. But it doesn't have to be about convictions. It can be about, you said ADR,
yes.
Yeah, so Meshach, I think the justice system is working on both ends, either for convictions or to just look at alternatives to dispute resolutions.
Can I say something about Meshach?
Yes.
He's one of our investigating officers. I know him from Dandora.
That's good.
Yes,
that's quite good.
Yes,
yeah.
He's one of us.
Okay. Asante sana Meshach. So we're waiting for Luke to ask. I'm not sure. I didn't see his question. Maybe he asked it earlier before the show started. But definitely, Luke, we are here to answer your question. If you could ask it, then we could answer it. But then if not, then we'll catch up with it another time. Okay. So I think I'm winding up now, for real. Yes. Asante sana. And thank you, everyone. Oh, Luke has typed. I'm sorry about that. How can you make a decision to charge a person who did matter during, I think he's talking about self-defense. And so he says, how can you make a decision to charge against a person who was operating on self-defense? Kwanza, what is self-defense?
For instance, somebody has confronted you, maybe with a knife or something, and in the process you punch him.
Yeah, so I bet Luke is asking, mbono unachajiwa mtu alikuwa anajisort?
That is why I'd say that as per the guidelines, one of the things you look at is the evidence in rebuttal.
Yeah.
So that if you find out that the person was really acting in self-defense, you can refer that matter, you can divert the matter.
Okay.
It really doesn't have to go to court.
Okay.
So one of the guidelines is look at the evidence of the other side.
Yeah. All right.
Yes.
Anything?
No, we are not rigid. We are not rigid when we're investigating the matters. Yes, so we look at both sides. So we don't want another part to be aggrieved at the expense of another. That's why we are always on an equilibrium. We hear both parties. Yes.
Okay. So look, I think you've been answered. They look at both sides of the case before making the decision to charge. That has to be seen. And like defense says, they are not rigid. They are also humans like you. They'll have to listen so that they give a fair judgment of your case in as much as it is self-defense. So thank you once again for engaging with us. Thank you for the questions you've asked. Rose Naliaka, I remind you to just come and let us know what the problem is. If you're in Makadara, definitely walk in and you'll find the officers in Makadara to help you. If not, you can of course slide into the DM and then you'll get assisted. So once again, thank you for joining. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your questions and your comments. Thank you for engaging us. It always makes for a good show when we get engagement from you. I hope you've learned something. Every time we talk about the decision to charge, I learned something new. And of course, today I've learned something else in English. There's more vices than virtues. I hope you're learning as well. So I want to wish you a very good Friday and a restful weekend. And let's catch up in the week as we keep on discussing matters on the criminal justice system. And I hope now for today you've confirmed that there's no way the IOs and the investigative officers and ODPP work differently. They work together. They operate in one accord to give you justice. So thank you once again. Have a good weekend. Have a good week ahead. And let's catch up in the weekend. God bless you.